6:02. We will do the invocation tonight. We'll have Mayor Pro Tem Patterson do the invocation tonight, please. And then we'll have Diana do the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay?
Bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for another day to allow us to do good. Please bless this meeting, bless the decisions, bless the community. We thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Everybody please stand. Place your right hand over your heart and face the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oral communication guidelines.
Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.3, the public should directly address the legislative body concerning items that have been described in the notice of special meeting.
Bill Myers.
Nope.
Mr. Mayor, for council, I simply have a question. I believe you all know me, so I'll forget the address and so forth. On the Section 102, how much is it going to cost us? Thank you.
Amy Shepherd. Amy Shepherd.
That's me. Amy Shepherd, 139th and Doty. This is my third time making my request, guys. I just think $94,000 is excessive. I think the citizens right now, Dr. Jimenez just got a grant to feed people. People are hungry. They don't have food security, and you guys are asking for corporate salaries for a part-time job. I think now is not the time. I think it's not worth it. 25, 30,000 a year, maybe. We're asking you to just reduce it to something reasonable. Maybe the median income of the city would be fair. That would be close to 50, I think. But a six-figure salary for a part-time job, you guys all have full-time jobs. Mr. Monteiro, I'm just really going to count on you to fight this vigorously. You were the one that brought it to our attention, and I hope that you can convince your colleagues something reasonable, $25,000, $30,000. I think that the residents would be fine. It would supplement you guys. It would pay for your time here. You guys are valuable to us, but you know, making more than most of us make, I mean, especially when we're doing food banks all over the place and we have homeless people all over the place, I just think it's unreasonable. And I know I'm not supposed to talk to anybody like directly, but some of you are not running for re-election, so I know you're doing this for the next council, and I would just really implore, you know, you as well to maybe consider a reduction in the salaries. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
James Raddick, 3822 West 144th Street. I'm new to this meeting. I haven't heard anything about the charter, what's going on with it, what's been passed, what you guys are doing. Is there a way to get a copy of what's been happening so far? I mean, if the voters are going to have to vote on it, I'd like to know what I'm voting for.
You have your minutes, your agendas that could be accessed either through the city clerk's office, through the website, and you'll have it right there in front of you. As of for today's
There's
meetings.
nothing in there.
Thing is the articles, all the articles.
Okay, I got one.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. If not, the oral communication section of today's meeting is over.
Mr. Mayor, just to acknowledge that we receive an email.
Sure. Oh, at the appropriate time. Well, actually, right
It was
now.
it was a
No,
public comment.
Yes, I'll mention it at the public hearing because there's or comments during public hearing. Okay.
Thank you.
Item 1, can you please read item 1?
Now is the time and place for a public hearing on the proposal of a charter and the content of the proposed charter. City Attorney Department's declaration, publication filed, one written communication was received.
Okay, we received one communication. from a resident? Okay. And everybody up here has a copy? So, is there anybody who would like to speak during the public hearing aspect of tonight's meeting? Not, I'll declare the oral communications section of the public hearing closed. So ordered. Right.
Through the chair, I'd like to propose an amendment to the charter and move that we approve with that amendment and put it on the ballot for the community to vote on. I would like to suggest that we alter the compensation portion of the charter, change it from a household of 4 and reduce to a household of 2. Will definitely put a big dent in the compensation, and I'd like to make a motion for that.
Second. Please vote.
Mr. Mayor, to the chair. We do have a representative from Richard Watson Gershon. Mr. David Snow is not present today. He's out of town, but his replacement is here. His name is Zachary Heinzelman.
Okay.
If you want to hear from him with respect to explanation of the staff report, if you don't feel it's necessary, then it's fine.
I don't have any questions.
Yeah,
A motion and a second has been made. Please vote. Any comments can still be made after.
The vote reflects Councilmember Patterson, Mayor Vargas, and Councilmember Reyes English voting yes, with Council Members Valentine and Council Members Monteiro voting no.
And for clarification, the vote was on everything on the charter as provided in the staff report and notice, with the exception of the compensation changing from family of 4 to family of 2.
Yes.
That'd be correct? Okay.
May I offer further clarification there? It's family of 2 based on the 2021 HUD income levels for County of Los Angeles. Is that correct? Thank you.
to the chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, the reason that I still vote no, because the compensation for the low income for family of 2 will still be $75,680. So it's not 50, it's not 30. So it's $75,680. And again, when you add the medical benefit, so it puts you again close to $100,000 a year salary and benefit for the council that works part-time. That is where I said I vote no. And the beginning, I was supporting the charter without the compensation because I think the stipend that we're going to receive is plenty. And remember, we receive stipend. Right now it's $600 a month, but as January 2023 will be $1,200, plus the benefit that is equal about $22,000 a year. So definitely, it's unfortunately that is going to pass, it's going to go on the ballot, but I am definitely going to lobby for people of Hawthorne to vote no on the charter, because I don't believe we should be paying $75,680 annually when we have staff that's working 40 hours and are not making that much money. So that's my 2 cents on it. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Thank you. I have some questions. So, Mr. City Manager, with the schedule of salaries that's listed for a family of 2, at the 471,704 number, that represents the fiscal impact, including PERS. Am I correct?
That's correct. If I may answer that question. The family of 2 under the formula by HUD for LA County 2021, the salary per council member will be $75,700 per year annually. that totals for in the fiscal impact is 378,500. Plus, the benefits would cost and have an impact on the general fund by additional 271,216. However, hold on one second, I'm sorry. So the total impact would be 649,716. But however, there's an offset because the ordinance that was passed with respect ordinance number 2228 that had the salary for city council members starting from January 1st, 2023 at 1,200 per month or 14,400 per year. That also had a benefit of total for city council of 106,000 and change. So the total offset based on the salary and the benefits would be 178,015. So the net fiscal impact, when you consider the fact that there will no longer be that 1,200 a month payment under the ordinance, the net total fiscal impact from the family of two formula would be $471,704. That's on your agenda, Bill. I'm sorry that the format got kind of changed around, that you can't, it's not on the same page where you have that category listed, but the total fiscal impact, net impact for general fund will be $471,704 per year.
But that is per council member, isn't that correct?
No, that's total. Total, all 5 council members.
That's all 5 council members making $75,000 a year?
Yes, 75,700 per year. Total net impact, fiscal impact for all council members, all 5, will be annual of $471,704.
And that includes the fiscal impact and the PERS impact?
Yes, that includes the benefits. So the
Okay.
total impact, fiscal impact.
So, am I correct that, that when we spoke, Mr. City Manager, that you said that doing, enacting this would be the same as hiring 5 additional salaried persons?
At this wage, yes.
Okay. And so, would that not impact your ability to hire other salaried persons?
If we were recruiting for 5 individuals at this fee, yes, it would.
Okay. Have you done an impact analysis of how much this fee increase would be over 5 years or over 10 years, which is what you would do if you were hiring regular salaried persons?
No, we have not at this time.
Have you done an impact to see whether or not, have you done a study to see whether this would have an impact on your ability to award salary increases to other personnel in the future?
No, I have
Or
not.
based on perhaps you know, when there is a request for an increase based on contract increases?
No, I have not. Our contracts that were negotiated last year still have 3.5 years remaining.
Okay. You haven't done a 5-year impact to see what the impact would be of this salary increase over 5 years?
No, I have not.
So my feeling is this. I would agree with what has been said earlier in the meeting by one of the residents, and it is my view also that the salary increase is too much. We're going into a recession. The market is not good right now. We're going into a recession, and we also can expect a rise in interest rates. We already have a lot of money out there, which we have debt. We can expect a rise in interest rates. I think this is a bad time to make such a decision. The future cannot be predicted, and we may have an emergency that the city may face, that it will have to use its money in order to solve these problems. I don't see a justification for this, and I'm sorry, I cannot support it.
Through the chair.
Was anybody else gonna speak first? Okay, I'll give it to
Right.
Mayor Pro Tem, and then you, and then I think you want to say something. Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
I mean, I support the charter going for the people to vote on. There's a lot of different parts of the charter that I support. Obviously, the wedge issue that we've come to be discussing is the compensation for the council. So, I mean, I'll speak to that specifically. I think it's in the best interest of the community that we have the ability to attract the best talent to the city council and represent the city. The best talent that won't be influenced by dirty money out there, and the best talent that can do the best for the community. So a couple communities that surround us that are doing very, very well, have a tremendous amount of economic development. And you know, one of the things they have going for themselves are a council that has some adequate compensation and able to kind of focus their time on building the city. You know, currently as it sits, for somebody to be a councilperson in Hawthorne, they have to be unemployed, retired, work part-time, have a very basic job, be self-employed, right, which I used to be self-employed, and which allowed me to do a lot, or have a very flexible employer. I mean, I'm blessed to have a very flexible employer, or at least my manager is very flexible, allows me to miss work in order to make my council meetings. I had to, barely made it on time here, but I had to leave work early to make here because I work from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And so anytime you see me at a council meeting, I've left work early to do so. And I know if I was my boss, I wouldn't allow it, right? In general, right? If there was just some random person wanting to leave all the time to do something. And so I think that a reasonable compensation is required to help attract quality candidates to this position. I think we need people who have options to have an incentive to spend their time and their resources here in the city of Hawthorne, making the city better, and it's not just relegated for retired folks or teachers, or people whose schedules are wide open in order to help out. I did think that the $95,000 number was high. I originally understood that our formula duplicated one of our neighboring cities. And, when looking at what number that the formula pointed to, I agreed it was a bit high, which is why I thought it was a good idea to reduce it. And so, of course, the number that was just suggested was a low-income household of 2, which it looks like it's $75,000. And I think that's a reasonable number for a representative that's going to put some real time and effort into serving the community. I think that if we have more council people that just show up on the council days and try to fiddle around with their agenda to figure out what's going on, who don't have the time or the resources to meet with staff and all that stuff, I think we have more of that we have had in the past that will have poor results. So But again, the charter is much more about the compensation. I think it also, helps us to have greater land use control, allow us to get in the fight against, was it SB 9? At least get in that lawsuit with that. Allows us some important things that can help the city kind of move forward, especially when it comes to economic development. One thing I don't want to see is the city be left behind, as we see so much happening to the cities around us, and ours is slow to react. So, and then I think there was a comment about we have debt and the recession coming and all that good stuff. And I could be wrong. I don't think our debt is variable. I don't think our interest rate on our debt is variable. As long as we don't look to refinance, I don't think that. Then I think we get to benefit from locking in whatever low interest rates that we currently have. I think as interest rates rise, then our return on our investments will rise as well. And I think that Hawthorne has a lot. Well, I know, speaking to the city manager, that we could afford this fiscal impact. And based on the things that the city's been working on, I do believe that our financial position is getting stronger, given the fact that we are at a record surplus as well, after giving all of our employees raises, which not all council people want to do. But I'm glad that we did give our employees raises. And I think we'll be in position to continue to take care of our staff in the future. This is the first time we gave our staff raises in like 14 years. And it was a hard fight in order to approve that. It would have been nicer if it wasn't that hard of a fight. But I think having the right people on the bus makes a difference. But that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I appreciate my colleagues, trying to defend their position or to say no on this one. I take a little bit of offense when my colleague Mayor Pro Tem talk about getting quality people in this council. So who are we? I believe, we are qualified. We have done outstanding job.
Thank you.
And the citizens will decide if they don't want us here, they'll vote us out, right? But again, I said it in the past. If our budget, if we had about $500 million in reserve, then I'll be happy to say, yes, let's go and do it. But we only have $79 million in reserve. And when you looked at our annual budget, it's about $70 million. So this means we only have 1 year in reserve. If something dramatic would happen, the money that we have saved would be gone like this, on a flash. The other thing that I believe that we're talking about 5 council members, but we do have 2 other elected officials, city clerk and the city treasurer. Are they not going to get money too? Are they going to be left behind?
You could have proposed.
So we have to think about all of that, because to me, if council members are going to get salary, so we should give salary to the treasurer and to the clerk, because they are elected official by the city, by the citizen of Hawthorne, right? The beginning, I'm telling you, the charter proposition was good because it was for us to defend our zoning and land use and fight the state, because they've been passing these ridiculous laws up to Sacramento, imposed in our ability to govern our own ordinance when it comes to zoning and land use. But when it comes to compensation, I said if we were better economically, because you have to do the math. The math is right there in front of you. So if that's the case, that we are concerned about this, you have some other option. For example, extremely low income, family of 2 is $28,400. Very low income family of 4 is $35,450. So why didn't go there, $35,550 instead of $75,700? So think about this, because I said it's not fair for us to get salary then, not the other elected official. And then for the people, our staff, and I was one of those who fought very hard to get them 5%, because some of you didn't want to do that, so I fought very hard in that to give them increase in salaries. So we need to think about this clearly. There is some other option that you could make $35,450 a month. But the people of Hawthorne is going to decide. So that is what I'm not fighting or bring people over here for charade. No, people's going to decide on the ballot box. And again, the last meeting when we did this public hearing, I request that the amount of dollar be on that article. I don't just want to see low income, limited family of 4, family of 2 by the Department of U.S. Department, blah, 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 blah. I want to see the dollar amount. So the people will understand when they're voting, if they want to give you $75,000, they will vote yes. If they don't, they will vote no. But you have to be transparent. Don't let this go because like I said, a lot of people is going to read the charter because I'm pretty sure we're going to put a nice language into that voting guide by the LA County that is going to say that the city of Hawthorne intends to become a charter to protect our municipal codes, but that's not going to say nothing about compensation. It's going to be one paragraph, 200 words. So these articles will not be on that voting guide from the LA County, and then when people go on the ballot box. So that is what I'm saying. We have to be more transparent about these articles. I want this article to be published and put out there. And I want, if it goes like this, I want a dollar amount. So think about it. Very low income, family of 4, $35,450. Thank you.
Councilwoman English.
Thank you. Wow. Let's be transparent. We've got 5 people up here.
Yes.
We all support our employees.
Yes.
We all provided raises to our
Yes.
employees, to our police, and bonuses.
Yeah,
So, again, the city does not move unless there's a consensus.
that's exactly right.
However, I want to address, more importantly, some of the comments that have been made with regards to part-time. In the years of public service for myself, I don't consider myself part-time. I'm available to the community all the time. And that's with regards to responses to tonight and how they've been forwarded to the department in which it needed to go to, the city clerk's office. With regards to property owners having issues with their property, issues in planning, issues with licensing, issues with dumping, issues with recycling, issues with Republic Works, or I should say Republic Services, issues of great magnitude, including policing issues. So, you know, I'm not going to say I take offense to it. I just want to educate you, those that say that we're part-time. I take this job very seriously, and I've lived in this community over 35 years, and I've given myself through public service in a number of ways. And I'm very open book. You could always come and ask me. Don't assume, and I prefer that best. I've always been that way. I've always worked that way. In my years of elected office, in campaigning, I've always stressed that. I'm available. I was more for, again, the protections on our city to be able to provide RFPs, to bring again developments, to bring again protections of more local control, protections on, say, for instance, on a number of issues from zone amendments to protections of a number of things that this charter has a potential for. In the years here in the city of Hawthorne, our city, and many of you know it because you've run for office in the past and you talked about how it's been stagnant and there's nothing happening in the city and how nobody wants to come to this city. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. This city needs to come up. It needs to change. It has to come up to the times that we are in. We're not in the 60s. We're not in the 80s. We're not in the 90s. We're in 2022. Other cities are prospering because of their charter changes. Inglewood, Carson, other cities in the South Bay, not in the South Bay, in the Los Angeles region that's out further. Other areas, I could tell you that development's booming. We have great opportunities here. I was surprised to see Trader Joe's on the parade. But why can't they come to Hawthorne? Why can't all these other businesses that we're championing and looking for come to Hawthorne? Because we have nothing to offer. Nothing. It's been stagnant too long. It's always been no, 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 no. You could hear it from the calls that we receive. You know, the community needs to know that the city is doing its best to bring jobs, to bring revenue streams, and to bring about a good place to live in the city of Hawthorne. The accessibilities that we have are endless. The 405, the 105, the Harbor 110, near LAX, near the ports. We're a thriving city. But unless we come up to the times of where we're at today and stop being so naysayer, no to this development, no to that development, no to this, no to that, we have to do something different. The compensation portion of it is minute, just in comparison to what we're trying to do in moving the city forward. If the city voters need to choose that, let them choose that. It's in November. If that's a personal opinion that you have a concern with, and then you know how to vote. But don't bring it upon me, my character, to say that I'm a part-time member. I'm not. And I value input. But don't assume. I drive to committee meetings. For 2 years, I sat on the Clean Power Alliance of Southern California. Nobody paid my gas. Sitting in meetings for 5 hours in LA. Traveling to and from. I didn't get a stipend. Nobody paid for my gas. Had a flat tire, pop tire. Anybody pay for my tire? No, I did. Went recently to Chicago. Did I turn in receipts for reimbursement? No, I did not. It was on my credit card. I paid for it, even though the city is responsible for feeding me. So I think when you have responsible members up here that are responsible and are fiscally aware of whether or not to charge the city for a training, a course, a committee meeting, something that we're appointed to up here as a council that has the selection to appoint us and put us in those positions, I'm responsible. And I'd like to believe that everyone else up here is responsible too. But if this is something that's going to help the city in other ways, let the people vote. I wanted an amendment, a proposition on the ballot regarding fireworks. I got so much pushback on that, I could not believe it. Veterans were calling me, enough is enough, Angie. Pet owners were calling me, enough is enough, Angie. You know, this is ridiculous. We've got bombs going off over here. It sounds like we're fighting in Beirut or, other foreign countries. It's ridiculous. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. Oh, but what happened? All the, I'm going to say it, whining nonprofit organizations come running to me. But you can't take away our $10,000 a year fireworks stands. Well, excuse me, how long have you been in nonprofit status? Years. What other things have you done to benefit your nonprofit besides relying on the 4th of July booth? There has to be other choices, even for nonprofits. And it's my hope next year it'll be put on the ballot with regards to eliminating fireworks once and for all. That's my hope. And the nonprofits could find other ways to raise their money. But passion is what I have. Public service is what I've provided and will continue to provide. Anything else suggesting this or that is hearsay. And if you'd like to address me, to ask me questions, ask me. But please, don't come up here and assume or take away from what I've done in the years that I've been here serving the city. That's what I want to say. And I respectfully thank you in advance for coming and providing your comments. I truly do. And that should always be the case, because we are a public forum, and that's what you should be doing, is engaging the community and let us know how you feel. But I believe, too, that we have sentiments that we need to express, too. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just FYI, I was one of the people that if the ordinance for the firework would come, I would vote yes to finish fireworks. So even in the past, through my nonprofit, we did firework, but with all the citizens complaint, 3 years ago, I was ready to vote to stop the fireworks sales. So anytime you want it, you got my support.
Anybody else? Wow.
Go for it.
That's heavy duty, man. Anybody else, though? All right.
I said, let the people vote in November. That's because you already vote 3 votes to go ahead with it, right?
All right, so I guess this is my turn.
Nope.
Okay, can I have a little bit quiet over there? I have a lot of things I'd like to say, but absolutely, it's not a I think, I don't want to name names on my council colleagues or point anybody out, but it's not a competition. I do more than everyone here for the community. I do this, I do that, and this and that. You know, is it a competition? Do you guys remember the quote that I mentioned over at the State of the City? That a true leader is someone who does this stuff, doesn't take recognition, lets the other people take the recognition. But I think not to call anybody out, but we spend more time saying, oh, I did more than you, and I did this, and I did that. Okay? I didn't know that some of my council colleagues were trying to keep tabs on how many times I show up to the city hall or how many times I show up to different events. I'm always on call, and I agree. We're always on call. We're always doing different things. So the question of as to how much time we dedicate to this thing, to this whole thing is, you know, each one of us knows how much we do, and I put a hell of a lot of time, and anybody can call me at any time. So let's just put that issue to rest, put that to the side. Through my discussions with our city manager, I wouldn't have moved ahead and asked the residents to vote for this, to decide yes or no, if the city manager would have advised against it. If the city manager and his staff would have said, no, we're not able to, or I'm about to hire this many people right now and I need the money, or we can't afford it, or there's not going to be any adjustments to the financial budget or things that we're not going to be pursuing on spending money for. If he would have advised not to, I would have taken his advice. And I know that some of my council colleagues are saying, did you research this? Did you research that? Did you did this? Well, it's kind of interesting. All this stuff comes up on the last day. All these questions, these studies weren't requested since the process started. So I just think that's possible delay tactic or something. But everybody can ask for whatever they want, right? And in the actuality, when I talk to the residents, they ask, hey, you know, good job, Mayor, you council colleagues, good job, et cetera. And they ask, so how much, they ask me with regards to salary. And when I tell them what our salary is right now, they laugh. How could you do that? Why? I thought you were, you know, the assumption out there is that we do get a medium salary. That's the assumption. I know we have 3 people here who maybe spoke either are not too happy or not excited or don't know. But that's 3 people. people out and about, when I'm talking in the community, they're assuming that we're already making something. So it's like, why you do that? For all the work that you do, for all the work that you and your council member colleagues do, that's it. And so, no, that's not right. That's not right. So I get those repeated comments, okay? So I think what we see is social media trolls trying to portray this as that we are giving ourselves a salary increase, and that is false. That is fully false. We're not. We're asking the residents to decide yes or no. And I think it's an insult to the voters to say that they're not smart enough to see if this is good for them or not. Voters are smart enough to be able to decide if it's something that's good for them or not. I wanted to put the fireworks on the ballot as well, but I had people that were against putting it on the ballot, or there was not enough support, collective support, all right, in all fairness, right? I was against the UUT measure. I didn't want to put it on the ballot, but since my colleagues felt that it was something that we should ask the voters to vote for, I joined them, and let's just put it on the ballot and see what people say. Residents voted against it. I was against the cannabis tax issue because I knew that council members up here would have used that vote to portray it as an approval for cannabis. Yet I still joined my council colleagues in putting it on there, and it passed. I had my opinions on it, but I still joined the team on putting this. I was against moving up, asking the voters to vote for a sales tax. I didn't think it was a right thing at that time. I was. But I still joined my council colleagues and said that the voters will decide what to do with their money. I was against Measure M as well, but we all decided to put it on the ballot, or, well, support it. And I joined my council colleagues. So I feel that the residents are smart enough to make a decision like this. If it's good, they'll say, we're okay, we can do it. If we can't, we can't, okay? So I really think the voters will decide, and I'm not going to support or oppose it. I'm going to let the voters decide. I know it's election year for for people out there, whether on council that are running for re-election or people out there, and I think they need a platform, at least one thing that they could use as a piece of platform. And but I want to warn you, without saying anything directly again, I believe we should have put that, everybody here voted for that salary increase to double in January. Every single one of the people over here. Nobody hesitated in saying, no, I don't think we should increase our salary by, increase it twice. Everybody here voted. There was no hesitation. Then when the issue with the charter cities came about, of course, I'm against this, I'm against that. I'm against the salary, I'm against the salary, I'm against the salary. But Mr. City Attorney, can we put it on the ballot at a later time? Right? If the whole aspect of increasing a salary is so grotesque and so repulsive and not a good idea, why would a council member up here inquire from our city attorney if we can put it on the ballot later?
Did anybody do that, Mr. City Attorney?
Mr. Monteiro, I'm speaking. I have the floor until I finish, sir.
I'm just talking to the city attorney.
Yes, but we can hear you through your mic, sir, and please give him
I'm not
fix.
aware of that.
Okay, if the shoe doesn't fit, don't wear it. But I need you to be quiet while I speak, just like everybody gives you the full respect, and I rebuke my council colleagues when they interrupt you. So I think moving away from that, well, yeah, I think it's a political time. People need political platforms, etc. But I agree with my council colleagues and the community out there. Let us decide. Let us vote for it. You don't like it, vote against it. The 3 people who spoke, vote against it. If there's people that support it, let them vote for it. I think the people are smart enough to decide. And it's an insult for anybody to suggest that they can't even see through anything that's not good for the city. Then I would be curious to see anybody who's running for council that's opposing this right now, or anybody who's running for re-election, if this were to pass, if they were to reject the salary for themselves after the election. Okay? And that's it. I think we can just move ahead. So everybody said what they needed to say. Everybody got one equal turn. Okay?
Mayor, may I speak?
I think we already did 5, but I'm not going to deny you the opportunity, but go ahead.
Thank you. So, whatever you're going to put on the ballot, I think it should also say that if there's any future change in compensation, it should be preceded by a fiscal analysis, the same one that was done here, and that any future compensation must also be put on the voters in a charter amendment, so that it won't be just up to the council to vote themselves future increases.
I want to piggyback in on that. Mr. City Attorney or the gentleman here is representing. The council cannot, after the vote, if this were to pass, the council cannot increase amounts on their own. It all has to go back to the voters again, or decrease, because it could be increasing or decreasing. Sir, is that true? Or do we need to put the specific language in here?
The way that the charter draft is currently provided is that the future changes would be increased in step with what the current provisions in the government code provide. If the way of formulating generally what the appropriate compensation for the council would be, that would go back to the voters to amend the charter.
So you're saying it does not have to be, it is already in there that the voters would have to approve future amendments?
Yes, outside of, but the point I was making is, so in section.
General law allows us to,
Oh,
by ordinance, increase by 3% from the last time the compensation was set. But we have to we have to do it. Doesn't happen automatically. Is it 5%? 5%. So general law allows us to increase compensation by 5% since the last time we do a resolution. Doesn't happen automatically. So in order to increase it by more than 5% over a previous year, it has to be a charter amendment.
Yes, so the way the current draft is worded is that future adjustments would still be tied to the general law framework. If the wholesale revision of the kind of baseline of where compensation is set were to be amended, that would have to be done by the voters to replace the current voter action in implementing the charter.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
All right. So if nothing further, this meeting is adjourned at 6:50 p.m.
If I could make-
it's not adjourned. I didn't bang it yet, so go ahead.
I could make a point of a clarification just for where we're at in the charter consideration process. So this would be the second hearing of the government code requires 2 hearings. The city will have to wait 21 days, and then at that point, there could be the vote to consider submitting it to the voters. Tonight was to kind of settle down on the content of the charter that would be in those materials that would be presented to the council on August 9th.
Mr. City Attorney, do you confirm and recognize everything he's saying?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, what would happen is that on August 9th meeting of the City Council, there will be a resolution to have this voted by the council to put it for ballot, just like how we did in April for the office election. It was a resolution, notice of election. That resolution, if approved by the council, that would be the final vote to take it to charter, and that would be sent to the county so that they would put it as a ballot measure. And that will be on the meeting of the August 9th.
Sir, if we were to decide, do we still have time? This is an aside at the same time. Do we still have time to put a fireworks prohibition item on the ballot?
I don't think we have time for that.
Okay, so then if anybody wants to advocate for that, please let us know for the next time around, all right?
Again, I couldn't do it because of this ordinance.
Okay.
That make sense?
That's fine.
So I'm going to do it next year.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you, sir. Is there anything else you need to tell us?
No, I just wanted to make sure we're all understand where we're at. The process is the second hearing. The actual vote to submit it to the voters would be August 9th. As City Attorney Kim noted, you'll be presented with the resolution that'll provide you that opportunity to submit the charter draft with the content as amended discussed today to the voters.
Just ask a question. For the 21 days, is for the people to still submit comments, or?
It's what the 21 days is what state law requires. You're supposed to hold 2 hearings. Like today's the second, June 14th was the first on the content of the charter, and then on the after the 21 days,
Why is the purpose of the 21 days? That's what I want to understand.
I think you'd probably have to ask who wrote the bill. I think it's mostly to give kind of a spacing so that there's not one meeting where a charter is all prepared at one point, but it's just the time period they settled on in the government code.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
If there's nothing further from council colleagues or staff, this meeting is adjourned at 6:53.